Hello. So I thought I'd try making another video. Game week 16, got a few things I've been thinking about. Um, what do I want to talk about? We've got the 5 free transfers, which I'm still kind of thinking how many should I use. I'm feeling very trigger happy. I've got a whole bunch of changes I could make. Petrovic to Raya, Waltamari to Thiago, Van Dijk to Anderson, maybe a Garner to an Anderson or a Harry Wilson or something. Bunch of little tweaks that I could make. And I'm thinking, should I just splash through all of them, or should I save them for chip season and stuff? And that's a tricky one to figure out. I'm probably going to end up just using one or two, something like that. So 5 free transfers. I've also got my own current predicament at the moment. Is I was planning to free hit 16, but then we had the issue of Foden popping up and his price changes going mad. And on Saturday, I did Semenyo to Foden just in case. Just did it, got the price changes. And then if I want to cancel it and stick to the plan, I can just free hit and wipe it out. But if I want to free hit in another game week, I could keep Foden. So I need to think about that. I've also just been thinking about my own. I just want to kind of take stock of where we're at this point in the season. Like, I feel like my playing style is changing a little bit. I want to kind of get back to that. So I want to talk about that, and then maybe I'll talk a little bit more about double game weeks as well at the end of the season. Just got some more thoughts about what might be likely to occur to add to last week's video. So where I'm at the moment, so I'm ranked 1.3 mil, which is all right ish. I mean, I'd rather be doing better, but it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I can't complain. But my goal is top 100k, which would be great because that's top 1%. Top 500k, I wouldn't be that bummed about. Anything below top 500k, I'd be like quietly bummed out about, but fine. I'm 11 points from top 1 mil, 34 from top 500k, 73 from top 100k. So bit of a way to go, but it's doable. But that is quite a way to go, to be honest. We're up against some good players, but we'll see. Hopefully I can get there. And it's amazing how much one monster haul can change it, because originally I was about 80, 90 points off top 100k, and I was about 20 odd points off top 1 mil and all this kind of stuff. And just that Bruno return is all of a sudden 11 points off top 1 mil is actually achievable in one good game week, really. So yeah, I'm doing all right. That's my chart so far, and usually it just gradually inches further and further downwards if you're lucky. So that's everything's going okay. I think luck wise, haven't had the greatest. I mean that's probably normal amount of luck, ups and downs. At the moment I'm more down than up, but yeah, it's going all right. So but all these things make me, I feel like my playing style is getting a bit lost. Like, over the last few years I've been developing this playing style that's kind of boring, I guess. It's quite, not necessarily template, but there are certain players that are just very robust, 90-minute men, nailed, on pens, talisman. I like minutes, and I like, yeah, I don't know, other things like, yeah, robustness. And there are certain types of picks that I've been picking, and sometimes I feel like doing nothing and being boring and being just emotionless and like a computer is actually the best way to play sometimes. And I feel like I might be moving away from that, because like I look at my defence, I've just brought O'Reilly and Chow in for Tarkowski and Senesi, and Tarkowski and Senesi were those kind of just nailed, reliable season keeper type picks, and I think, yeah, am I moving away from that? O'Reilly doesn't do the DEFCONs. Chow's not great with the DEFCONs. Timber doesn't do DEFCONs, really. Virgil didn't do them last season, but he is doing them this season. And it's like, the whole point of playing 5 at the back was to target the DEFCONs, really, because that was the thing. And it's like, so am I moving away from that? And bringing Foden in for Semenyo is like, Semenyo was a 90-minute man nailed, but now I think I'm following the data, right? You know, my model still has these players as better picks, so that's why I'm doing it. So I think it's okay. Yeah, but I just want to kind of, yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm about juggling in my mind. You've got these 5 free transfers, and there's a part of me that wants to just be real trigger happy and start making these tweaks. But then the amount of times they backfire. This is part of the reason why I didn't buy Foden last week and I kept Semenyo, because sometimes in FPL, it's like classic FPL. Like when Semenyo scored, and there were rumours that Foden wouldn't even start, and when Semenyo scored, everybody on Twitter was like, classic FPL. And then it got ruled out by VAR, but that is classic FPL. Sometimes I feel like doing nothing, actually, it feels like it works out more often than it doesn't, but then I'm not sure if that's true. It shouldn't be. Technically, I should just be focusing on EV and just maximising EV, and if I've got a pick, if I've got free transfers, and if I've got a pick that can kind of get me a little bit more EV, then I should probably just use it, but it's probably more often than it's wrong. But yeah, these are things I'm thinking anyway. And I also, another thing I often think, a playing style thing, is like sometimes I think you can boil the game down to about a pool of 30 to 40, maybe 50 people, 50 players. And once you boil it down to that point, that's where the skill is. But once you boil it down to that pool of players, I'm not sure it matters that much distinguishing between them, because variance kind of is so much that it kind of counteracts anyway. And so, you know, people like Thiago, Mateta, Walter and stuff, and they're all just like, they're probably as good as each other. Maybe Mateta's getting tired, I'm not sure, early subs, but they're all probably as good as each other, and you may as well just, I don't even know if it's worth going sideways between these kind of forwards. And this is the top 10k live FPL, top 10k ownership. And this is kind of the template. So everyone's got Haaland. Not that many people got Bruno, but I think Bruno will probably become more popular now. Everyone's got at least one Palace defender, one Arsenal defender, maybe Raya, whoever. Then, you still got Haaland, and then one of Thiago, Mateta, Walter, probably a dead spot. Semenyo's in there still, midfield. And then there's just a scattering of other players, other picks. But this is the basic template. This is the pool of like 50 odd people, and everyone's just kind of got some variation of that, and they're all probably about as good as each other, maybe. So what I'm trying to say is I'm not sure it matters that much. I get a bit chasey sometimes. I start getting a bit, as soon as my player doesn't perform, I want to jump to somebody else, and it's a bit points chasey. Maybe I should just be staying set and not worrying about it too much. Don't know. Haven't really decided. These are just thoughts I'm thinking. Anyway, that's playing style. Free hit 16. The predicament I'm in at the moment. So I was going to free hit 16, and then Foden happened, and his points went up. His price was going up high, and now I'm thinking, well, should I abort free hit 16, do it another game week, and keep Foden? And long story short, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna free hit in 19 now, and I'm gonna keep Foden. And the reason I changed my mind, one of the main things was I started looking at free hits. This is very unexact science, but I was using my model and trying to get a sense of like, so this is my team, this is the first 11, this is the amount of points they'll get in each game week. So game week 16 is my lowest scoring game week. So that instinct was right. You got like Man City playing Crystal Palace, Richards Man City here. The Newcastle Sunderland game could be tough. Man United Bournemouth could be tough. Brighton versus Liverpool could be tough. Petrovic against Man United. It's a crappy game week. So that instinct probably was right. But it's when you free hit, it's about the relative advantage you're going to get. It's like it's the amount of points extra that the free hit team will get over your original team. And so I looked into each game week and just kind of picked a rough free hit team. Again, did this super quick, so it might not be exact. But I just noticed that every game week, the amount of points I was going to gain from free hitting was about the same. It's about 5.5 points there, 5.1, 5.41, 5.64. Now this is like, I don't know how much I trust the model, to be honest, but it just made me think maybe the relative advantage of a free hitting in any game week is kind of, it'll be fairly similar. In which case, I may as well just keep Foden for this game week. Free hitting another one. The amount of money I'll get from Foden, team value wise, is like Semenyo's gone down about 0.1. I might be another 0.1 again at some point. And then Foden's gone up loads. He's like 0.2 already, maybe another. If it's a 5.2 half a million swing, then I put a value of around about 5 points on that. We're nearly halfway through the season ish, and I usually put a value of 2 points per 0.1 million over the course of a whole season, at least, maybe 3, but 2 points is conservative. So at least 1 point per 0.1 million is probably like a rough. That's how much that 0.5 million that I've saved there in team value will probably buy me theoretically over the rest of the season. At some point in the season, I'm going to need that, and it's going to come in handy, and it's going to get me an extra 5 points at some point, in theory. Now, this season, we don't actually have that much use for the team value. No Salah, the premium, Palmer's not really doing it. So you could argue that 0.5 million value is not actually as important this season. But because I've started looking at free hit 19 now, these other free hits, and realizing that they actually might be okay anyway, I think I'm leaning free hit 19 now. Firstly, this game week 16 is maybe not that bad, because Man City are playing well and Palace are starting to falter a little bit. I think they've started dropping down the charts a bit. The XG charts in the last 6 games, Palace are quite low compared with where they were for the season. They've dropped back a bit. I think XGA, actually they're doing alright for XGA, doing very good. That's interesting. But I don't know, I've made my mind up now anyway. But there's an argument that they might be faltering a little bit. And then this Newcastle Sunderland game could be a bit of a wild card kind of game, because you don't know what's going to happen. It's a Tyneside derby. It's the first time they've met, I believe, in 10 years. So they met in the FA Cup a couple of years ago, but then the last time they played in the Premier League is 10 years ago. And it's like, this is, where is it? Sunderland and Newcastle, like right next to each other there, if for anybody who's not in England. It's and the further north you go in England, just if for people who aren't in England, generally it's seen as being like the tougher, thicker skinned you are. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Arguable, debatable. But they're nut cases up there. So that could be a real feisty derby, is the idea. And so who knows what could happen there. So maybe keeping these Newcastle players in that game might be good. Could be a good game. I've got Xhaka as well. Could play him, because I probably won't play Richards against Man City, so I could play Xhaka. Just roll the dice on that one. So that was making me come around to game week 16, maybe sticking with that. And then game week 19, well, these are the best fixtures. It's not very good for graphics wise, but these are the best fixtures in each game week. Free hit 16, it's Arsenal Wolves. I've already got double Arsenal anyway, so it'd be nice to get another one, but I might sacrifice it. Brentford Leeds, I could bring Thiago in. I could bring Raya in and Thiago. It's possible. And then the Fulham Burnley one, you're going to have to trust Raul Jimenez and Harry Wilson for that one, which doesn't feel as good. Maybe a Watkins versus West Ham, I don't know, but that's your free hit 16. Free hit 17, if I keep Foden, then I've got triple Man City for the West Ham game anyway. It's just Semenyo versus Burnley that I'd be sacrificing. I may have Petrovic still. So it's that Bournemouth-Burnley game I'd be sacrificing, and maybe Thiago again against Wolves, unless I want to bring him in. So yeah, I may do Walter to Thiago yet. And then free hit 18 and 19. It's Liverpool got Wolves at home in 18 and Leeds at home in 19, so they're quite good. Gakpo is due back game week 18, so that might be risky. He might not be back in time, but he might be all right for 19. But yeah, if you can kind of guess who's going to play, Ekitike or Isaac, then these could be good games to target. And in 19, Newcastle play Burnley again. So if I did do Walter to Thiago, I could bring Walter back in for 19. Man United play Wolves as well, which could be a good time to bring in Cunha and, I don't know, some other punt, maybe a defender, maybe whoever. So that 19 feels good to me. I think I like the fact that it's the last game week, just in case we get any surprise postponements or something. And free hit 19, I think I like it. Also, the fixtures are not. There could be rotation. This is game week 18-19. This is how it's going to look. But Liverpool actually have quite a big gap between 17, 18, 19. So they're probably, if they're going to rotate, it might be game week 20 for Liverpool. Man United's not bad as well. Aston Villa, Newcastle, because Man United and Newcastle play on Boxing Day. It means their game week 19 game is actually, they got an extra day's rest. And then they've got quite a good rest afterwards as well. So they may not be likely to rotate. So Man United, Liverpool, Newcastle could be good for 19. We may get some rotation clues as well from other teams. So, the rest of my players may be likely to rotate. Probably not Man City, actually. But Man City versus Sunderland is a good game to target as well. But my Arsenal players, maybe. They've got quite a tight fixture schedule there. Some other players may be rotating. So 19 is the one I'm looking at. The slight downside of 19 is that you can't abort. You can't change your mind because it's the very last game week to use it. And so if something happens, I'm screwed. I've just got to use it. But I think I'm leaning 19. So, yep. That is Brighton versus West Ham maybe as well. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go 19 now. I'm going to keep Foden. I'm going to play game week 16. And I'm just probably going to play all these players and hope to get lucky. I guess it's not the best game week 16. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do with that. But then it's got these 5 free transfers then. So I could tweak my team. I mean, so I could do Petrovic to Raya, Waltemada to Thiago. If that Sunderland game's actually going to be hard, maybe Waltemada to Thiago for the Leeds game. I could upgrade a Ghana to a Anderson or a Wilson, so I've got somebody better to come on for Richards here. I think in game week 17, as somebody else who's got a bad fixture as well. I mean, Chow versus Chelsea, probably not going to want to play him. So I could, these are things that I could do. But how trigger happy do I want to be with the transfers? 5 free transfers. Not sure. I haven't decided yet. I mean, I've already done Semenyo to Foden. I was going to do Waltemada to Thiago, but I just don't know. Thiago, I don't know how. The only nailed forward over this little period where all these teams have loads of games back to back. The only nailed forward I was thinking of was Bowen, but his numbers are not quite as high as the rest of them. He's like a 0.3 guy rather than a 0.5 guy at the moment, and so I think he was a bit too low. But maybe Bowen. Some people are starting to think about him. So I think, but even Thiago, he got rested in that Arsenal game here, but he got rested there, but he didn't really need a rest. He hadn't actually played that many minutes. He doesn't play any international football, so he'd had 2 weeks rest there. He doesn't play any kind of Europe. So it kind of, I don't think it was a rest. Now, I think he got a bit of a knock game week 13, so it might have been to do with that. But he's had like a whole year off with this knee injury and stuff, so I do wonder whether he's actually able to play back-to-back games. So I'm not 100% sure that he's going to play every game, especially here, like Tottenham, Everton, Sunderland, those 3. Will he miss one? Will he miss Everton? He could do. No, I think it's the same with Waltemada as well. They got Europe and EFL Cup. He's got a lot of fixtures. I'm hoping to get lucky and I'm hoping he'll miss. Well, he's probably not going to miss. They're going to want him for Sunderland and Leverkusen. I think he'll probably play both of them. But maybe he'll miss the EFL. Play that one, rest there, play that one. He could probably play most of these. Maybe miss the Leeds. Newcastle got a tough FA Cup fixture, so maybe it'll be the Leeds one he'll get benched for. Anyway. I don't know. Waltemada to Thiago. I don't know whether I want to do it. I feel like that Sunderland game could be good. Isn't it at home? Oh no, it's away at Sunderland. That is new information I forgot about. I thought it was at St James's Park, so it's at Sunderland's stadium. So actually, maybe I will sell him then. That might actually that's changed my mind a bit. Okay. Well, I've got to think about that. Van Dijk, selling Van Dijk, I think I'm not going to do that. Some people selling him. I don't think so. I mean, just Liverpool's defence has been like it's top 4 for the last 6 game weeks. It's top 5 for the season. They're still doing pretty well, and even in the tough games here with like Man City, Nottingham Forest, and Leeds, they conceded about 1.5ish XGC. But that's still not terrible. I think it's just they conceding 24 goals there is bad, like, and not getting that many clean sheets. There seems to be mistakes in them. That's the problem, isn't it? I think the actual data is not that bad. They slip up a bit, but I feel like the potential is still there. I think I'm going to stick with him. And his fixtures are Tottenham, and then he's got, is that Wolves and, oh no, that's 17, isn't it? So he's got Brighton, Tottenham, then Wolves and Leeds. And Wolves and Leeds are quite good. Obviously, I can bring him back for Leeds if I free hit 19. So it's really just Brighton, Tottenham, Wolves. Yeah. I think I'm going to keep him. Because the other thing about defenders, which I said before, which is that sometimes you need a little bit of jeopardy and trepidation to get the monster hauls. The games that are kind of tricky, on the cusp of being difficult, if you can get a clean sheet in those games, that's when they get the bonus and the defcons as well. So, yeah, I think I'll stick it. And Fulham and Tottenham are quite low XG teams at the moment. Fulham and Tottenham down here, Spurs second bottom, Fulham fifth bottom for XG. So I think I'm leaning towards keeping Van Dijk. Petrovic to Raya. It's the price thing. So, you know, Walter-Mata to Thiago, I'm saving money, so that helps as well. Whereas Petrovic to Raya, I'm spending money, and then I have to start thinking about, well, do I need to save that money for somebody else? Now there's Palmer starting to come into the picture, but I don't think I'm going to be thinking about Palmer till here. Obviously, if I do Petrovic and Raya, he's going to be in there till game week 31 or 32 when we wildcard. So it is for a long time, and there is this period here, game week 24ish, maybe even 21ish, where Chelsea will become picks once they get over this little hump. People will look at Chelsea. If Palmer's fit there, he's got a couple of okay games here, and then West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley. And there's the possibility of a double in 27 as well, but I'll get onto that in a minute. So I think Chelsea will look like picks, and if Palmer starts to get better, I may want to get him. I could just do Saka to Palmer, but if I save my money, I might be able to do Saka and Palmer. That's one option. And then other people I might want to buy is Gabriel and Tarkowski. I'm probably going to want them back again. Tarkowski from 18 onwards, Burnley, Forest, Brentford, Wolves, Villa, Leeds. That run there is like, that feels like Tarkowskiville. So I want to get him back in. And then Gabriel. Yeah, Gabriel's back for Christmas, I think I heard. He's back in full team training. So what's that? Game week 18 maybe? Probably like 19 or 20. 19 or 20. So haven't actually decided any of this stuff. Sometimes when I make videos I decide on the spot, but it's not really helping me. Maybe Walter-Mata to Thiago. And then benching Richards is likely, even though at the moment my model has Xhaka and Garner as predicted less points in game week 16 than Richards. Richards have predicted more points, and I think that's because Xhaka and Garner's fixtures in 16, they're all low defcon chances. So Xhaka's playing Newcastle, they're low for defcon chances, and Garner's playing Chelsea and they're low as well. But then Richards is playing Man City and they're low as well. Man City are second bottom, so they're all low for defcon chances. I don't really know why Richards is higher, but this is what makes me think maybe I should sell Garner to get somebody else. Could have a little punt on Harry Wilson, or get Elliot Anderson in. But Harry Wilson feels a little bit of a risk, and his XGI is actually quite low. I had him up here somewhere. Where is Mr. Wilson? There he is there. Only 0.2ish this season. 77% chance of starting, but Harry Wilson is, you got Iwobi and Chukwueze guy, I can't remember his name, leaving for AFCON. That might mean he's more likely to start. But only 0.2 XGI data is not the best. I mean, Jack is actually, well, he's higher than him if he starts, but that's including his minutes. Elliot Anderson's a bit higher, but not massively higher. It's ballpark, but he is a little bit better. And the only problem with Elliot Anderson is I've been thinking two things. Firstly, if I'm selling Garner or Xhaka or Garner to Anderson, these are technically bench spots, and I feel a bit like how often am I actually? I've been playing 5 at the back quite a lot. Maybe for the next 2 game weeks I won't, but how often am I going to actually play Anderson over? I'm going to need to play him, and is that worth it for the extra 500,000 or 0.4 million, just for the occasional, the slightly higher chance of getting DEFCON? Because these guys are going to get DEFCON anyway. It might be worth it, but again, I need to kind of make sure I've got enough money to get Gabriel and Tarkowski and some of these other players potentially. And then I'm also 10% worried about Douglas Luiz coming back, because he's been out for a while. And originally I didn't go for Elliot Anderson because Forest bought a load of midfielders, and I thought his place might be in jeopardy, but I don't think it is. He sounds like he's playing really well, and I think maybe they do a double pivot with Douglas Luiz if he does come in. So I don't know if it will be either or. Probably not. So that's probably nothing to worry about. But that was just something at the back of my mind. Yeah. So maybe Elliot Anderson, but he's not. The next 3 fixtures: Tottenham, Fulham, Man City. They're not great, and they're not great for DEFCONs, and they're not particularly great fixtures in general anyway. Tottenham, Fulham doing all right. Tottenham are a bit crap. Man City are pretty tough though, and I don't think they're great for DEFCONs either. Let's have a quick look. DEFCONs: Tottenham, Fulham, and Man City. So Man City fairly low. Fulham I thought were low. Well, Fulham not too bad. Spurs are high actually. So could go Elliot Anderson. I'll have a think. So that's So I'm probably not going to sell Van Dijk. I probably will do Walter Marley to Thiago. Garner to Anderson maybe. But I might roll the dice. If Xhaka's playing at home in that derby, I may actually go for Xhaka, although he could get a red card or something, in a game like that. Don't know. And then Petrovic to Raya. I kind of want to keep Petrovic for that Burnley fixture. And the problem with the keepers is just never, for an extra 1.5 million, I'm not sure it's worth it. The keepers, they're only about 10-15 points difference or something. Where's I think I added the points here. Raya's on 66 points for the season. Petrovic is on 52. What is that? 14 points difference for an extra 1.5 million. I don't know if it's worth it. I feel like, it'd be nice and secure to have Raya, but I'm not sure if it's worth it for a keeper to spend all that money. So I probably won't bring Raya in. Be nice for that Wolves game. But then I'll get Petrovic versus Burnley. That'd be nice. Then going forward, I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind. See, that was the other thing. Raya, some of these fixtures feel tricky-ish. Playing Aston Villa again, although I'll be free hitting there. Then Bournemouth and Liverpool here could be tricky. Brighton always seem to know how to score a goal. So, I might just stick with Petrovic. His fixtures get a bit better this side. Once we get to 24-ish, a little bit nicer. So that'll be, I don't know. I'll probably stick with Petrovic. Yep, I think that's enough thinking about all of that. I think I think that's all my thoughts about that. I think I'll just talk about double game weeks. So double game weeks, little talk about that because I find this stuff kind of interesting. Most people probably won't be thinking about this stuff yet, but I don't think. I mean, it doesn't. I don't think it'll make a massive difference, but I just like thinking about it. So, yeah. So the second half of the season, the most likely you don't get doubles without blanks, and the blanks are going to come in game week 31, probably, maybe game week 34. That's the EFL final. That's the FA Cup semi-final, and possibly game week 37, but probably not. The EFL final. So there is one question to ask firstly, which is that is it possible that we won't get any blanks in 31? Because there is actually a possibility of that. So these are the teams that are in the EFL Cup still at the moment. You've got Arsenal, Brentford, Palace, Chelsea, Fulham, Man City and Newcastle and Cardiff. And starting with Arsenal, if Arsenal get to the EFL final, if they make the top 8 of the Champions League as well, then that will be a free midweek. And I think it's likely that that game there will be a blank and it'll be brought forward to here. They've got an okay fixture in the FA Cup. What's that? Portsmouth. They're playing Portsmouth, so they'll probably get through that. Basically, if any team, gets knocked out, if like Arsenal and Wolves both get knocked out of the FA Cup, then they could just play it there. That FA Cup weekend there, and also there's a European midweek there as well. That's all technically still part of game week 31. So if two teams get knocked out of the FA Cup, then they could actually put it there. And we've got some tough fixtures in the FA Cup. So Newcastle, Bournemouth, Everton, Sunderland. They've got four all Premier League ties, and there's only 4 teams that are playing teams that are lower than the Championship. So yes, everybody else is playing either Championship teams or Premiership teams. So there could be a lot of upsets. Everton, Sunderland, Newcastle, Bournemouth is one. So like Newcastle, Sunderland there. If Newcastle and Sunderland both get knocked out, which they could, because Newcastle have got Bournemouth and Sunderland have got Everton, then if Newcastle were to be one of the teams that got to the EFL final, that game, Newcastle-Sunderland, could just go there into that midweek. Now, it still might not. It still might not, because I think the FA Cup, they wanted to have free midweeks just for the FA Cup. They didn't want to have all these clashes. I think I heard last season they said something about that, but they may still do it. They may put it on a Friday or a Tuesday or something. I don't know. So that's a possibility. Then also another thing with Newcastle is that the teams that are unlikely to finish in the top 8 of their European competitions, so Newcastle, Tottenham don't care. Chelsea at the moment are now not predicted to finish in the top 8 because they lost last night. So the teams that are unlikely to finish in the top 8, what's just happened? Teams that are unlikely to finish in the top 8, basically, they're going to have to play these playoffs. Presuming they finish at least in the top 24 or whatever it is, they're going to have to play in these playoffs. So any blank from there can't be brought forward to these 2 midweek fixtures here. And in that scenario, I suspect, this is my guess, is that the fixture reschedulers will just wait. And they'll wait all the way up to here before they reschedule. So they'll probably wait. They'll have to, because these fixtures, all these midweeks will be used up. So for Newcastle, all of these will be used up if they get to the EFL final, presuming they're still in the FA Cup. And both them and Sunderland are still in the FA Cup. And then they'll probably just wait and see if they get knocked out of the playoffs or the round of 16. And then if they get knocked out, then it could go in one of these 2 fixtures and it'll just stay in 31. That is a possibility. So Arsenal, Wolves, very high chance they'll get to the EFL final, pretty high chance, and pretty high chance they'll finish in the top 8. So in that scenario, I think they'll probably bring it forward to 27. Even though Arsenal have free slots for free blanks, I still think they'll be proactive and bring it forward like they did last season. Because there could still be knock-on effects. There could be pressure. And Man City as well. Man City and Crystal Palace. you need Man City and Crystal Palace to finish in the top 8 of Europe for that to be free. So even if Man City finish in the top 8, Crystal Palace have to finish as well, which is they should do. They're the favourites to win the Conference League, but they're not doing great at the moment, and they've got that tough fixture. They've got that tough scheduling here against Cups where they've got 1 day's rest before Leeds, so they may throw that game or play kids in that game. So I don't know, we'll see. But if they do finish in the top 8, then if Man City or Palace get to the final, that will probably come forward to 27. Chelsea, though, everybody else like Chelsea now, they're probably not going to make it into the top 8. Maybe, probably. And so that's not going to be able to come forward. And so all of these teams now, so other than Arsenal and Palace and City, all the other teams, there'll probably still be a blank, but they're going to wait. It's a bit more jeopardy because they're going to have to wait to see if they get through the FA Cup round of 32, round of 16, and the European teams, see if they get through these games. And if they get knocked out, then they might be able to just play them there in 31. So, in conclusion, there is I don't know, I don't want to say 50-50, that's sitting on the bench, on the fence, but it's only Arsenal, City, and Man City and Crystal Palace that have that kind of pressure that might bring the game forward to 27. But the other teams, it feels like there's a fair chance that they'll end up just leaving it in 31. Now they may not. They may still, if Newcastle get knocked out of the playoffs or something like that, and they get to the final, they may put it in like 30, because that feels closer. Like you're just bringing it forward here. You're only blocking a round of 16 rather than a quarter final, which is less eyes for the TV companies. They may just bring it forward, and that'll still be a double. But yeah, but that's the situation. Like we could get doubles. We may not. We may not even get any blanks there. So that is a possibility. Yeah, I think that's about it. I won't really talk about the second half. I haven't really looked into that too much. We'll probably get we'll be wild carding here anyway, probably, and then so we'll be set up for that. But the 5 free transfers might be handy. I guess I'm slightly talking myself into being more trigger happy with using my transfers now, is what I'm thinking. Because you can use them now, you get the benefit of using them now, and you can still roll and build back up to 5 free transfers if we need as we go along here. So yeah, I may use more than 1 or 2. Yep. Okay. I think I'm going to shut up now. That was a waffly one. Okay. Thanks for listening. See you later. Bye bye.